I live in Scottsdale, which means half our zip code is built on sunlight and the other half is built on pretending. Perfect lawns. Perfect teeth. Perfect marriages. The kind of place where people will smile through betrayal because it would be tacky to have a breakdown in a Tesla on Shea. I sell homes in premium neighborhoods, Arcadia spillover, Silverleaf clients, the "we only do private showings" crowd. My job is basically, look unbothered, know everything, and never get caught off guard. Optics matter, but reality matters more. If the story doesn't add up, someone is selling you something. My wife, Madison, knew that about me. She used to tease me at dinner, "You're like a human Snopes page." I'd tap my calendar app and say, "I'm like a human contract." There's a difference. We'd been married 9 years. No kids yet, not because we didn't want them, but because life kept getting busy, which is Scottsdale's favorite excuse for everything. Busy is what you say when you don't want to admit you're drifting. Madison worked in corporate development for a regional healthcare company, the kind of job that came with blazers, stakeholder dinners, and quarterly work trips she framed like survival missions. "It's just conferences," she'd say, dragging her carry-on across our marble foyer. "Just networking." It always had that tone, "Don't be needy," like I was asking her to choose between me and oxygen. For the first couple years, I didn't question anything. 2 nights, maybe 3. A few hotel selfies, a badge photo, a salad that looked like punishment. Then she'd come home and toss her heels by the entryway like she'd fought a war and returned victorious. About 2 months ago, something shifted, nothing dramatic, just small changes you notice when noticing is your job. She started guarding her phone like it held nuclear codes. It used to sit on the kitchen island while she cooked. She'd ask me to read her a text with messy hands. She'd hand it to me in the car, pick the playlist. Easy, married. Then suddenly, screen face down. Always. If I walked behind her on the couch, she'd angle it away like I was a stranger. If I reached for it without thinking, like moving it off a wet spot, she'd snap, "Don't touch it, there's work stuff on it." Work stuff. The first time, I apologized. In my world people protect information, NDAs, offers, counteroffers. I understood discretion. The second time, I started paying attention. I'm not proud of this, but I began treating my own house like a listing, walking through it for inconsistencies. Her phone would buzz late and she'd pick it up instantly, like she'd been waiting. Then she'd step into the hallway for 2 seconds. Those 2 seconds became 90. She started showering the second she got home from the gym, even if she'd barely sweat. New urgency. And her perfume changed sometimes, not a new bottle, but an undertone I couldn't place, like hotel soap and something sharper. I didn't accuse. I didn't cry. That's not my wiring. I just watched. Then last Thursday happened. Ordinary Scottsdale morning, already sunny in a way that feels aggressive. I did my gym routine early like always, protein shake, clean polo, watch charged, calendar color-coded. Madison worked from home. Regional strategy call, at 9, client lunch, later, moving through the house like she was late to her own life. Around 7:30, she walked into the bathroom, set her phone on the counter, and turned the shower on. I was in the bedroom tying my shoes, scrolling my own emails. Nothing special. No spying. Then her phone vibrated, confident, like it wanted to be seen. The screen lit up and the notification banner popped, bright as a confession, "You still thinking about yesterday?" Smirking face, from a contact named, work/delivery. I stared at it like if I waited long enough it would rearrange itself into something normal. Work/delivery. Lazy. Not a company, not a coworker, just a label. The kind of disguise you slap on someone when you don't want your husband to see Ryan or Mark lighting up the screen while you rinse conditioner out of your hair. I didn't open the message. I didn't swipe. I didn't dig through threads like a man looking for pain. The contact name alone was enough. A minute later the phone buzzed again, a missed call. Same contact. No voicemail. I did what I always do when something doesn't add up, I looked for the pattern. When she got out of the shower, she was humming like a person with nothing to hide. She picked up her phone, thumbed the screen fast, and the humming stopped for half a beat, tiny pause, then resumed a little louder, like she was trying to drown out silence. "You're up early," she said, towel around her hair, casual tone like she was managing the situation. "Big day," I said. She smiled. "Same." I watched her walk past me and felt something cold settle in my chest, not rage, not grief. Professional clarity. The feeling I get when a buyer claims they just want to look, but their eyes keep landing on price per square foot like it's a life raft. Later, when she went downstairs, I walked into the bathroom and looked at the phone again, just the lock screen. I'm not a hacker. I don't do movie stuff. I don't need to. People always leave evidence somewhere. They underestimate how much they reveal by trying to conceal. I waited until she was on her call. Then I sat on the edge of the bed and pulled up my own phone. I tapped the icon for a secondary number I keep, just a business line for clients so my personal number isn't public. I typed in the number I'd seen on her recent calls list a few nights earlier. That was the other red flag, the same unknown number late at night, always short. 2 minutes. 3. Like someone calling just to hear her voice. I pressed call. It rang once. Twice. A man answered. Hello. Not, hello, this is, not confusion. Just hello, like he already knew who was calling and he was testing whether she'd use her real voice. My throat went dry. I didn't speak. I ended the call. And in that exact second, every, just networking, story Madison had ever told me rearranged into something uglier and cleaner. Conference businessmen. The guy who lives in airports and hotel bars and thinks a wedding ring is just an obstacle to negotiate around. The guy who calls himself a contact because it sounds harmless. I sat there and looked at my calendar like it was going to talk back. Trips. Dinners. Late calls. Team events. Client meetings. Entries I'd never questioned because I trusted the woman attached to them. I didn't feel tears. I felt insulted, not because she wanted someone else, but because she thought she could sell me a story with holes in it. And if there's one thing I know, selling a story with holes is how you lose everything. When Madison finished her call, she came upstairs breezy again. I'm going to swing by the office for a bit, she said. Just to drop some things off. Sure, I said, voice smooth because that's what I do. I keep it smooth until it's time to sign. She kissed my cheek, grabbed her keys, and left. The garage door rolled down like a curtain. I sat at the foot of our bed, opened a new note, and typed a title like I was starting a listing file, Madison, travel/conferences, timeline. Then I wrote the first anchor, Thursday, 7:32 a.m., work/delivery, text, you still thinking about yesterday? Smirking face, I stared at it until it stopped feeling like a joke, because I already knew what came next. I just wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of watching me react in real time. If you'd asked me 10 years ago what I'd do if I caught my wife cheating, I probably would have given you the cinematic answer: slam a door, yell, demand the truth, sleep on a friend's couch. But Scottsdale trains you differently. Image is currency here. Control is a flex. And I'm a real estate agent, my whole life is built on not tipping my hand until the leverage is in place. So I didn't confront Madison that night. I watched. Watching isn't passive. It's work. It's building a case while your face stays calm. That evening, she came home with the same lightness she'd had after the shower, like she'd stepped out of a secret room and was still carrying the warmth from it. Long day, she said, tossing her purse on the counter. I sat at the kitchen island with my laptop open, pretending to adjust a listing packet. In reality, I was tracking details. What did you end up doing? I asked. Just office stuff. Then I met with Carla for a bit. Carla didn't exist in any story I'd heard before. People don't materialize like that in a 9-year marriage unless there's a reason. Oh yeah? I kept my voice neutral. Where'd you meet? Fashion Square. Quick bite. Vague on purpose. Fog. Nice, I said. What did you eat? And she almost tripped. Salad. I wasn't that hungry. Salad again. Like she thinks cheating requires salad. I nodded like I believed her. She picked up her phone. Screen down. Always. Then she smiled at it without realizing, private smile, intimate. And it hit me hard, not as heartbreak, as humiliation. I'm the guy who books the nice dinners, remembers her coffee order, knows her mood shifts before she names them. If she still chose this, it wasn't about me failing her. It was about her believing I was too polite to notice. That night in bed, she rolled toward me, hands sliding across my stomach like muscle memory. You okay? She asked, soft. Like a throw pillow placed to hide a stain. I'm fine, I said. You've been quiet lately. Busy. Her favorite blanket word. Her phone buzzed at 11:47. She didn't pick it up immediately, new, like she'd learned to act. I waited. Then she reached slowly, brightness turned down like a teenager after curfew. Everything okay? I asked, calm. She froze, tiny internal freeze. Yeah. Work stuff. Carla. Carla again. I turned my head slightly. At midnight? She gave a little laugh. People don't respect boundaries. I didn't laugh back. Wild, I said. The next morning I kept my routine on purpose, gym, same time, same order. Nobody notices you're unraveling when you move like a metronome. Madison was leaving for another conference the following week. Chicago. 3 days. 2 nights. It's a big one, she'd said, already bored by my presence in the conversation. On Saturday, we went to dinner with another couple, loud laughs, trying too hard. Madison wore a tight black dress like we were headed to a gala instead of dinner. The husband asked, "What's conference life actually like?" Madison smiled, polished. Meetings. Panels. Networking dinners. You know. Networking dinners. My fork paused. His wife said, "That sounds exhausting." Madison nodded with practiced martyrdom. It is. But it's important. You make contacts. Contacts. There it was again. When we got home, she went upstairs without looking back. I followed. She slid into bed and scrolled her phone angled away. In the dim light, I said, "Hey. What's his name?" No anger. No accusation. Just a question. Her thumb stopped. She didn't look at me yet, deciding how much to lie. What are you talking about? Controlled. I kept my voice steady. The guy you're talking to. The one saved as work/delivery. What's his name? Now she looked at me. Wide eyes, not innocence, calculation. I don't know what you think you saw, but I saw the message. I cut in, still calm. And I called the number. A man answered. That cracked a seam. She inhaled sharp. Why would you call a number from my phone? There's work stuff on it, I said, letting the phrase hang there like a mirror. She sat up, pulling the sheet to her waist like fabric could protect her. You're being paranoid. It's a contact. Someone I met at conferences. It's networking. A contact, I repeated. So why is he texting you, you still thinking about yesterday? Her mouth opened, closed. It was a joke. A joke. At 7:30. While you were in the shower. She pivoted to irritation. You're being insane. I can't believe you're doing this. I nodded once. Okay. She stared, waiting for me to escalate, yell, plead, give her emotions to dance around. I didn't. Are you sleeping with him? I asked evenly. No. Too fast. Too clean. I tilted my head. Then why hide him? She snapped about me being controlling, me going through her phone. I didn't go through your phone, I said. It lit up on the counter. You left it there. That doesn't give you the right. I'm not debating rights, I said, tone sharpening. I'm asking about reality. You don't trust me. I looked at her a long moment. Madison. I trusted you so much I didn't even look. You handed me the evidence like you were bored. Her jaw tightened. You're making this into something it's not. It's just work. Just networking. Okay, I said. What's his name? She hesitated, one breath too long. It doesn't matter. He's just a contact. And that hesitation told me more than any confession. That's when the decision solidified inside me, quiet and heavy. In my world, when someone refuses to name the buyer, it's because they don't want you to call and verify the offer. I nodded. Got it. Madison blinked. Got what? I stood up and adjusted the comforter like I was straightening a tie. Nothing. Go to sleep. She looked confused, offended. That's it? You're just dropping it. I looked back, neutral. I'm not dropping it, I said. I'm filing it. Then I turned off the light. In the dark, her breathing sped up like she could feel the shift. She thought it would be a fight. She didn't realize she'd walked into an audit. Audits don't care how convincing you sound. They care what the paper says. I didn't sleep much after that conversation, but I didn't spiral. Hurt is emotional. Unmoored is operational. I'm an operations guy. If something collapses, it collapses because facts demand it, not because I lost my mind in the kitchen at midnight. So while Madison slept beside me like nothing changed, I made a decision that felt sterile in its clarity. I wasn't going to win this with a fight. I was going to win it with paper. The next morning, I did my normal routine on purpose, gym at 5:40, same treadmill, same mirror. Then I came home, showered, dressed, kissed her forehead like always. Love you, she mumbled. Have a good day, I said. Her phone buzzed. Screen down. She flipped it over casually like smoothing a wrinkle. I left the house smiling like a man with a normal life. In my car, I opened my calendar and started pulling trip dates. Chicago, big conference. Dallas last month. San Diego 2 months before. Color-coded in her tidy work travel blue. I made a new private calendar layer and labeled it, facts. Then I started the list, trip dates, hotel nights, the nights she texted, in meetings, and went dark until morning. I wasn't hunting drama. I was hunting pattern. At a red light, I opened our bank app and screenshot the last 30 days of joint spending. And there it was, an out-of-state dinner charge on a night she told me she was, in a panel, until late. Not her corporate card, our card. Boutique steak and wine place. 9:41 p.m. I pulled over and typed, September 14th, 9:41 p.m., out-of-state dinner charge, conflicts with panel story. Then I kept going. Hotel charges that didn't match the official conference hotel. Rideshare charges at times that made no sense. A second set of incidentals on a trip that should have been one room. Not one smoking gun, just 1,000 fingerprints. I created a cloud folder with a name so boring it made my eyes glaze, 2026 tax/statements. Saved PDFs, screenshots, calendar exports. Printed backups too, because people panic and rewrite history. That night, Madison came home and tried to be sweet, dinner, laughs, questions like she was auditioning for Normal Wife. Chicago next week, she said. It's going to be crazy. Yeah. I said. Which conference again? She didn't blink. Midwest Healthcare Leadership Summit. Smooth. Practiced. Cool, I said. Where's it held? The Lakeshore Convention Center. I nodded like impressed. Downtown. Right by the lake. The delivery was too perfect. Truth doesn't oversell. I didn't challenge it. I logged it. After dinner, I asked the question that would end it later, even though she didn't know. You mentioned you went to a good place last trip, I said, scrolling my phone like I was browsing restaurants. What was it? I'm always looking for spots to take clients. Madison smiled, safe territory. Marlowe and Vine. Amazing. Marlowe and Vine, I repeated. Yeah, she nodded. Short rib pappardelle. Unreal. You'd love it. What neighborhood? I asked. She waved a hand. Near the conference. We just walked. Nice, I said, smiling like I'd been handed a gift. She'd given me an anchor. The next morning, before sunrise, I verified it, no emotion, no rage. Marlowe and Vine didn't serve pappardelle. No pasta at all. And that week? Closed for a private renovation event. I didn't celebrate. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt calm. A lie is strongest when it stays foggy, networking, meetings, contacts, busy. It collapses when it touches something concrete, a restaurant, a dish, a date. I added one line, Marlowe and Vine claim, menu contradiction plus closure. Anchor inconsistency. Then I did the next part like checking locks before a storm. Opened a new bank account in my name only. Rerouted my paycheck that morning, quiet, not dramatic. I didn't drain joint accounts. I just removed the hose from the faucet before she could flood the house. I limited exposure on cards, turned on alerts, adjusted what I could legally adjust. I changed passwords to what I controlled, email, cloud storage, business CRM, brokerage logins, not to punish her, to protect my work if she panicked. I took passports, marriage certificate, deed, car titles, and tax returns and put them in my office safe. At 11 a.m., I sat across from a Phoenix family law attorney who looked like he'd seen every version of betrayal. He didn't ask how I felt. He asked what I could prove. So I showed him the timeline, the charges, the contradiction highlighted like a kill shot. He nodded. This is good. This is clean. Clean was the word I needed. He told me what was smart, what was stupid, and what would look bad in court, the difference between being justified and being strategic. I walked out with a plan so clear I could breathe again. Madison left for Chicago on Tuesday. At the airport she kissed me and said, "This week is going to be insane. I might be hard to reach." "Of course," I said. "Go crush it." She smiled like she was adored. She had no idea she was already caught. Thursday night she called from her hotel. Just got back. Long day. Sponsored dinners and networking after. Sounds exhausting, I said. It is, but it's important. Where'd you guys go again? I asked, casual. Was it Marlowe and Vine? There was a half-second delay. Then she said smoothly, yeah. Marlowe and Vine. I didn't correct her. I didn't argue. I looked at the email from my attorney confirming service details for Monday morning, and I said softly, like agreement, got it. Because consequences don't need volume. They need timing. There's this myth that betrayal hits you like a punch and you go action movie. It didn't feel like that. It felt like walking through one of my listings after the sellers move out, same house, same light, but you can hear the emptiness. The first week after I built the timeline, I moved like a machine, mornings perfect, showings polished, emails clean. Then I'd sit in my car after a showing with my hands on the wheel, staring at nothing, because the world had shifted and I didn't know where to place my weight. Madison came home from Chicago Friday, cheeks bright with that "I traveled" glow, like she'd been somewhere glamorous instead of somewhere dishonest. "Oh my God, I'm dead," she said. "You okay?" "Just exhausted," she replied, kissing me like checking a box, lips tasting like airport mints. She showered and came back in leggings and one of my old t-shirts, domestic costume. I watched her and felt pressure behind my ribs that wasn't anger. It was grief, slow grief, because the version of her I married should have been horrified to become this woman. Or maybe that version never existed. I did cry once, and it wasn't dramatic. Tuesday, 6:12 a.m. in my kitchen. I poured coffee and my hand trembled, splashing a little on the counter. That stupid tiny mess broke the seal. Silent tears, hot and humiliating, not sobbing, just a steady leak. I wiped my face fast when I heard footsteps. Madison walked in, phone already in hand, smiled like she didn't see the wreckage. "Morning." "Morning," I said, even. She didn't notice, or pretended not to. Either way, it told me something brutal: she wasn't worried about me anymore. She scrolled and said, "I might have to head to the office later. Carla needs me." Carla again. That name had become an insult. I nodded and watched her pour coffee like she belonged here. Grief turned into resolve. The hardest part wasn't imagining her with him. It was imagining her lying after, performance layered over intimacy. She'd say, "Long day," and I'd hear subtext. She'd say, "Proud of you," and I'd wonder if it was real or just a tranquilizer. At night, when she touched me, intimacy felt counterfeit, like a forged signature on a document I used to trust. One night she tried to initiate sex. "You've been distant. I miss you." I stared at the ceiling and heard my attorney, "Be strategic, don't create a scene." So I turned my head and asked softly, "How was Marlowe and Vine?" Her hand froze. "What?" "You went there in Chicago," I said, calm. "How was it?" Panic flicker, then recovery. "It was good." "Why?" "No reason. Just curious." She tried to laugh. "You're being weird." "Maybe." But she rolled away after, phone in hand again, screen turned away, and I realized, she wasn't afraid of losing me. She was afraid of losing control of the narrative. In the days leading up to service, I lived in a split screen. One side, normal life, close deals, smiles, how's Madison? Great, busy. The other side, quiet dismantling, new account, protections, documents secured, timeline printed, attorney emails, service arranged. Sometimes I woke at 3 a.m. and stared at her sleeping face with disbelief. There were moments I wanted to confront her just to stop the quiet, because silence tortures you with images you never asked to see. But I kept grounding myself, feelings are valid, facts are useful. I didn't want a messy confrontation she could twist into, he was unstable. I wanted a clean ending. The day before she got served, she posted an Instagram story, a photo of us at a charity event in Old Town, me in a suit, her in gold, smiling like the Scottsdale dream. Caption, "My person white heart." I stared at it a long time. Not love. Brand management. She was posting us to protect her image, maybe to convince herself. That's when acceptance started, not forgiveness, acceptance. The moment you stop asking why, and start asking what protects you. That night she slid into bed and asked, "You've been so quiet lately. Are we okay?" Like the universe gave her one last chance to choose honesty. I looked at her in the dark. "We're fine," I said, and the words tasted like metal. She studied my face, searching for a crack. "Okay," she said slowly, and rolled over. Her phone buzzed once. She didn't pick it up, but her hand curled around it under the sheets like reflex. And in my chest, grief softened into something colder and steadier, because the next day the story was going to stop being hers. Paper doesn't care how pretty you are. Paper doesn't care how convincing you sound. Paper just tells the truth on schedule. Monday morning in Scottsdale has a rhythm, sprinklers clicking, sun on stucco, everyone acting like their life is exactly what they post. I woke at 5:12 like always. Madison slept peaceful, unbothered, a woman who thought she was still steering. I watched her breathe for a second, not tenderness, stillness, then I left. At the gym I didn't change a single rep, discipline was the only thing that didn't abandon me. When I got back, Madison was in the kitchen in expensive athleisure, effortless and sharp. "Hey. Hey," I said, kissed her cheek. She poured coffee. "I have a call at 10. Then I might go into the office." "Okay." She watched me like she wanted a crack. "You're being quiet. Everything okay?" I met her eyes. "We're fine." Relief crossed her face. "Good. I don't have the bandwidth for drama." There it was, truth dressed as stress. No bandwidth for me. Plenty for him. At 9:47 her phone buzzed, she glanced, screen tilt, quick smile, then pocketed it. "I'm going to shower and get ready." "Sure." I sat at the island and opened my laptop like listing work, but I was watching the front camera feed. Service was set for 10:30. Not at her office, not in public, at home. Quiet. Controlled. At 10:26, Madison came down with damp hair and a blazer, phone in hand. "I'm going to head out after my call," she said. "Okay." She perched on the couch. "My boss is late." At 10:31, a man in a plain button-down walked up our walkway with a thin envelope. Madison didn't notice, eyes on her phone. The doorbell rang. She snapped her head up. "Who is that?" "I don't know," I said. She opened the door without checking the peephole, because she didn't think she had anything to fear. "Madison, last name?" "Yes." "What is this?" "I have documents for you." She took the envelope with 2 fingers. "What documents?" "You've been served." The air changed. Madison blinked, then laughed, short and sharp, not matching her eyes. "This is a joke." "It's not," he said, and walked away like my marriage was just another task. She stared at the envelope, then at me. "What the hell is this?" I didn't move. I didn't raise my voice. "Open it." Her hands shook as she tore it open, paper ripping too hard. Confusion first, then her face draining when she saw my name. "No," she said immediately. "No. Are you insane?" "No," I said. "I'm informed." She snapped up. "You're doing this over nothing." "Nothing." Like I didn't have months of fog and a contact named, work/delivery. Like I didn't have anchors. She stepped toward me, papers trembling. "You're embarrassing me. Do you know what this will look like?" Optics again. Not how could I hurt you, what will this look like? I held her gaze. "It'll look like the truth." She tried to pivot, jealousy, insecurity, my fault. I raised one finger. "No. This is because you lied." "About what?" I tilted my head. "Marlowe and Vine." Her expression froze, tiny flicker. "What about it?" "You told me you had short-rib pappardelle there," I said. "They don't serve pappardelle. No pasta. And they were closed that week." She understood then, I verified. Her shoulders dropped a fraction before pride surged back. So you stalked me? You've been spying. No, I said. You volunteered details. I checked them. She looked like she wanted to break the calm because calm made her powerless. You're ruining our life. I nodded. You already did. I'm just not pretending. Panic showed up. Okay, fine. I talked to someone. It was stupid. It didn't mean anything. I didn't respond. She rushed, attention, loneliness, love. I watched her keep saying, just a contact. Just networking. Just attention. Who is he? I asked. She hesitated, then whispered a first name like last names make it real. I nodded like confirming what I already knew. Then her phone buzzed, perfect timing. She looked down by reflex. I saw the preview, from work/delivery. Are you okay? You're quiet. Her face went white. I didn't gloat. I said, answer him. Tell him you got served. She swallowed. No, tell him, I repeated. She typed with shaking thumbs and hit send. Silence in a house too clean for this. A minute later, her phone buzzed again. She read it. Color drained from her face. The businessman wasn't a partner. He was a tourist. He said he can't be involved in drama, she whispered. Of course he did. I nodded. Makes sense. She looked up, furious and suddenly small. So that's it? You're throwing me away. I stood, smoothing my shirt like walking into a closing. This isn't throwing you away, I said. This is returning you to the life you chose. She begged. We can fix it. I held the truth steady, I can't fix something you were actively breaking. After she stormed out and back again, I sat at the island and opened my calendar. Facts, neat and brutal. I added, 10:30 a.m., served at home. Alibi collapses. Contact disappears. Then I went outside and let the Arizona sun hit my face like it was burning the old life off. My neighbor waved. Everything good? Scottsdale reflex made me smile. Yeah, I said. All good. It wasn't good, but it was real. Madison tried every tactic after, tears, rage, threats, therapy promises, transparency, like it was a gift. I stayed consistent, not cruel, consistent. Communication through attorneys. Everything documented. No vague captions. No public war. I wasn't trying to win Scottsdale. I was protecting my future. When she moved some things out, she looked at my office safe. You really planned this, she said, hollow. I met her eyes. I planned for reality. She gave a bitter laugh. You're always so prepared. I nodded. That's why I'm still standing. People asked questions, of course. Scottsdale is polite, not kind. At open houses, they looked for my ring. They asked if Madison was still traveling. I didn't give them the story. We're separating, I'd say, and change the subject. Reputation matters, but not more than peace. Some nights were still hard, not because I missed her, but because I missed the idea of having a person. Grief doesn't care that you made the right move. It just shows up and sits down. But with time, it changed shape, from loss to release. Months later, driving back from a showing in Paradise Valley with the windows down, I realized I hadn't thought about work/delivery all day. Not once. And that's how I knew it was the correct decision, not because I won, but because I got my mind back. If you're reading this and the story doesn't add up, here's what I'll tell you: don't argue with fog. Find the anchor. Verify the detail. Build the timeline. Protect your assets. Then let consequences do what emotions can't. Because when someone is selling you a lie, the most powerful thing you can do isn't scream. It's calmly refuse to buy it.